Hey, everybody, hope you all are doing well, and welcome back to Michael's Matters. Now, of course, I'm Michael. Hi, and hello. And one of the hallmarks of retirement in the United States, sort of really the starting point for most of us, is going to be when somebody starts to claim their Social Security benefit. Now, this can be for any of the number of types of Social Security programs that are available, whether it is Social Security Retirement, which is, of course, the largest, or Social Security spousal benefits, survivor benefits, Social Security Disability SSDI, Supplemental Security Benefits SSI, and really all the other iterations that are available. But although for basically 90% of the folks here in the United States who are over the age of 65, Social Security is one of their main sources of income. But there are some folks who are living in the United States who cannot get access to Social Security benefits and likely never will. So today, we are talking about these folks across the country who will never be able to claim Social Security benefits. Now, this is Michael's Matters, and before we get to the video, if you like these videos, if you find them interesting, if you find them helpful, right, even if you find them useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe because it really does help the channel grow, and we are so thankful for that. But also because you get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. Or now, let's get down to the video. So first things first, let's get the most obvious group of folks in there who will never be able to get Social Security benefits because, well, unfortunately, they will never make it to the Social Security retirement age. What I mean by this is that there are folks who do pre-decease, hitting their full retirement age, that is, they die. And although we like to think that we'll all get there and claim those benefits we have paid into throughout our entire working lives, but the fact of the matter is that many people do not. This truth only gets more exacerbated by the fact that the Social Security retirement age is continually increasing. As it started at 65 years old back in the day, now it's up at 66, and then very soon will be 67, and we'll even go up to 70 years old probably by the time that people in younger generations like myself get there. But the thing is that each time these years get lifted, potentially thousands or even tens of thousands of people end up pre-deceasing their full retirement age and thus do not get any of those benefits that they had paid into throughout their working life. I mean, if we look at the actuarial tables, at least for gentlemen like myself, you can see that the odds of living up to 66 are very different than the odds of living up to 70, even though it's only a couple years. The first group of people who will never be able to clear their Social Security checks from Social Security are those folks who pre-decease their retirement age. Another one that I'm just going to throw in here is relatively simple, is for folks who have come to the country and worked without lawful presence. So the so-called undocumented immigrants who have worked and maybe they have paid in via something like an ITIN number or a taxpayer number, and they've paid into the whole system, but they lack the legal standing to establish residency or citizenship in the United States, and thus these folks end up paying in, but they too end up never being able to take any of those benefits out. Next up, for Americans who do not have eligibility for Social Security benefits are a very specific subset of divorced spouses who fall sort of into like an administrative niche that precludes them from being able to get Social Security benefits from themselves, from their ex-spouses. Because in the rules for Social Security retirement benefits from a spouse, it specifically says that in order to be eligible to claim spousal benefits from an ex-spouse, the marriage must last at least a minimum of 10 years. So if, for example, someone got married in a hurry in Las Vegas after a night of partying, I suppose, or someone got married and it genuinely just didn't work out, if that marriage lasts less than 10 years and there's no remarrying and the person doesn't have any of their own personal work history, then unfortunately they will not be able to get Social Security benefits once they hit their retirement age. The next person up, who I do not have a ton of sympathy for, is for those folks who cannot get Social Security benefits because they have avoided paying any sort of payroll tax or Social Security tax, or any taxes really, for the entirety of their working history. So obviously Social Security is based off one's work history. The primary requirement to be eligible is one has to have worked a minimum of 10 years or 40 quarters in the United States and paid into the Social Security payroll tax. Now, the payroll tax amounts to a totality of 12.4% every single year, and in fact, every time you get your check. But typically, it is split between the employer and the worker at 6.2%, 50-50. Every time we get paid, a portion of that money goes into Uncle Sam's pockets to keep safe for the Social Security Trust Fund, at least in theory. And then when someone is eligible for benefits, either because they are disabled or they meet the minimum age requirements of Social Security, then they can start drawing on that pool of money in the form of Social Security benefits. But for some folks who've decided that the best financial course of action for themselves is to work in an all cash business and to not report any of that income, they are taking the risk that when they are no longer able to work, that extra 6.2% that they saved year over year by not, paying into Social Security Trust Fund will be enough to last them the rest of the time period that they are not working. As a side note, for most people, it will not, especially us Americans, because we like to spend all the money that we have. So if someone does evade paying the Social Security taxes for short-term gains, then they will not be able to get any of the benefits once they retire. And I think this one's actually kind of fair. Not too much sympathy for the situation. Last up for today is a bit of a strange one, and we don't often think about geopolitics affecting one's Social Security benefits. But the reality is that if someone retires in certain countries, they will never be able to claim Social Security benefits because, well, Social Security doesn't send benefits to those countries that are on shaky ground with the United States. Some of the largest expat Social Security beneficiaries outside the country are those countries that you would kind of suspect, right? There's the Philippines, there's Mexico, there's Italy. Those are really the top three. But if you retire to a country like North Korea, which, first of all, I don't even know, do they have a zip code? Good luck with that. Then you will not be able to receive any of your Social Security benefits because Social Security will not send money to North Korea, which sort of makes sense because it would be directly funding a dictatorship. Same goes for countries like Cuba or Belarus. Those all make sense, but then there are a whole bunch of countries, primarily in the stands, that are also on this list. Think Kyrgyzstan, Azerbaijan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Moldova. So I guess really living in many of those former Soviet states, that's going to end up precluding somebody from being able to get Social Security benefits. Also, as an FYI, Social Security actually is not supposed to send benefits abroad to anyone who is outside the United States for more than 6 months, unless, of course, they get a special exception. But past that period of time, a person would need to come back to the United States or maybe check in with the embassy at least for a period of 1 month for their benefits to be reinstated. So just a good thing to know. Overall, luckily, it is really a very small portion of the types of people who cannot ever get Social Security benefits. And some of them, they do seem a bit unfair, like people living outside the United States. I don't really fully understand why it would matter if you paid into Social Security benefits. Then why does it matter where you live for more than 6 months at a time? Although that does explain the vast amount of P.O. boxes that you find at the U.S.-Mexico border. Just saying. Additionally, some of them do also make perfect sense, like for those folks who predeceased their Social Security benefit retirement date. Okay, I get that, and oftentimes that money does end up going to spouses or dependents. Or for those people who don't ever pay taxes while they're working because they just pay cash, well, I don't feel bad for them. And the one thing I really do find most interesting is that countries on the ban list, because a revolution 60 years ago in Cuba is still having effects on the day-to-day lives of older Cubans who, even if they wanted to go back to Cuba, they couldn't because they would lose their benefits. So yeah, I think I will do another one of these. Probably there's a decent amount of more people who are actually not eligible for Social Security benefits, but they are pretty small. But, if you're in those groups, then it's a big deal for sure. And it's definitely interesting. All right, so that's it for today. And I really hope that you enjoyed this video, this Michael's Matters. And if you did, if you found it interesting, if you found helpful, or hey, if you at least found it useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe because it really does help the channel to grow. And we are so thankful for that. But also because you get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. So for Michael's Matters, I'm Michael, hoping that you take care of yourself, take care of others, and have a happy, healthy